Good evening, everyone. We're having some growing pains up here on the dais. Welcome, thank you everyone for coming in out of the rain. We're going to start the meeting with our invocation delivered by Mr. Jansen, followed by a salute to the flag. Please rise.
Let us pray. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings. Lord, we just ask you that you look over those who are suffering from COVID and the uptick that's going around, that you put your blessing on those families. Lord, we just thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, and the love that he's provided for us. Lord, we just ask you to look over our first responders and our military as they go out and protect our freedoms. For it's in your Son's Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Dumont? Here. Councilmember Golding? Here. Councilmember Jansen?
Here.
Councilmember Meza?
Here.
Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Councilmember Stokes?
Here.
Mayor Hoffman?
Here, moving on, approval of minutes, item number 123.
I move that we approve the minutes from council briefing held on June 14, 2021.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion for council? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 124.
I move we approve minutes from the special council meeting held on June 16, 2021, city attorney interviews.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from council? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 125.
I move that we approve minutes from the regular council meeting held on June 21st, 2021.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from council? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 126.
I move that we approve the minutes from the council workshop held on June 24th, 2021, charter review.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 127.
I move we approve the minutes from the council workshop held on June 28th, 2021, adventure landing development proposal.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 128.
Move that we approve the minutes from the council briefing held on June 28th, 2021.
Second. Any discussion from council? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Council announcements. I would like to wish our city manager a belated happy birthday and welcome him back up to the dais. Happy birthday. Our gift to you is we're not going to sing. So hopefully you have another wonderful year of your life and with the city of Jacksonville Beach. Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday, Mike. What was the date? Oh, okay. All right, we're going to write it down and remember it next year. Okay, I have a few announcements. Just want to let everyone know that several of us went to the League of Cities Policy Committee meetings on Friday. And just to give everyone an update, the Municipal Administration Policy Committee chose vacation rentals and cybersecurity as the top two priorities, not necessarily in that order, but that will be determined at the next meeting in August. For the benefit of the public, want to remind everybody that we have budget workshops starting the end of July with the budget showcase and financial condition report on Friday, July 20th. It starts at 2 p.m. and it will be virtual. That is always a great meeting. It's a great overview of our budget and where we are and where we're going. So I encourage
the 30th.
What did I say?
20th.
I'm sorry, July 30th. I had the 30th, but from brain to mouth did not connect, sorry. Also wanted to just give a quick shout out to Chief Smith, who participated in the Beaches Watch Police panel that was held on July 7th. That was a great meeting. I would encourage everybody to go to beacheswatch.com. The video is posted there. You can hear all three beach police chiefs talk about the summer, what they've been experiencing this summer with regard to Memorial Day, July 4th, and Orange Crush. It was very, very informational. And also want to mention that Beaches Watch is having a meeting on August 4th at 7 p.m., which will be virtual, and the topic is a thoughtful conversation about gun issues. There is a noted expert on gun policy, a Dr. Spitzer, who will be a speaker, a representative from Moms Demand Action, which Mayor Hoffman did a proclamation recently for that group, and then Dale Carson, who's a former police officer. And all of these speakers will be talking about gun issues, so it should be pretty interesting. The last item I just wanted to bring up is we've been obviously working on hiring a new city attorney, and after our last meeting I was thinking about it, and I know we had several staff members who attended the interviews, the in-person interviews, and I'd like to put this out here for my fellow council members to consider. Usually when we do the review of the city manager, we usually get input from city staff. Doesn't mean that, they're telling us what to do, but they can provide us input. I'd like to suggest that we ask for input from the city staff who attended those in-person interviews, because I think those people who did attend the in-person interviews are people who would be working with the city attorney, and I think that their input could be valuable for us to at least consider. So I'd like to put that out there for us to consider and potentially ask the city manager to put that together for us.
I agree with that. I think it's a great idea, particularly since we are split as a council and that there were some key staff that had a chance to spend some time, and we'll continue to spend time with whoever we do decide to hire. City manager, if you're light on, was it with regards to that topic or something new? Or want to cover both?
I guess we can cover both.
We can cover both. If council would like input from staff on this process, one of the things that I can do is go back and get with the individuals that were in the the group interviews with council last week, and we can put together our thoughts, maybe a one-page memo, and send that to council. We can even wait until after you have your next round of interviews, so we can take that information into account as well. But it really comes down to council. If there's a consensus to get some input from staff, we can summarize it and get it to you prior to making any decisions.
Mr. Stokes and Nichols, are your comments regarding that topic? Go ahead, Mr. Nichols.
I've personally talked to some of the staff members. I think the people on the council can individually talk to them if they feel the need to. I don't think it's the right move to have the city put a one-pager together from staff saying who they recommend, because it's going to push the decision one way or the other, and if somebody doesn't agree with them, then it's going to be, if the city says this is the person we want and council votes on something else, it's going to leave a negative taste in everybody's mouth. So I think council should independently get with the city staff if they want to.
Ms. Dumont?
I would agree with either a written statement or a verbal statement when we are deciding on when we're doing the vote. I don't think going one-on-one to individual staff people would be necessarily the best use of their time. So if we don't have it in writing, I will be requesting verbal preference of staff at the vote.
No other lights on this topic? Any other thoughts? Is the consensus towards following our next Zoom interview that we have a written memo from staff prior to our vote? And it wouldn't necessarily need to be, okay, I see one head shaking, some heads not moving, 3 heads nodding, 2 pipers piping. Go ahead, Mr. Staffopoulos.
If it would make council more comfortable following the next round of interviews, I can talk to the staff that was in the room. We can come up with a staff position. I can reach out to each of the individual council members and verbally tell you what our thoughts are. If that would.
Okay, all right.
We will do that.
Yeah. 7 heads nodding, 6 geese laying. Mr. Mesa, did you want to weigh in on that one?
Yes, just a bit. I do agree with Corey as well, but I also agree with Ms. Sandy Golden on it. So either way, it works. So.
Okay, so, Mr. Sophocles, did you want to continue with your announcements?
I did. I had 2 other items for council. The first is you should each have in front of your place setting is a QR code. And if you haven't had a chance to activate the QR code yet on your smart device, when you get a chance, please do. This is a new product that our Public Works Department has put together. This basically provides you to a link of dune protection information, and we will be using these in conjunction with the Keep Off the Dune signs, so that as people take a look at it, they can understand why we have dunes and why they need to be protected for the benefit of the community. The second thing I want, Mr. Barron has a lot of these, so he also brought a copy of the sign so you can see what it looks like with the QR code on it. So we can't wait to roll those out into the community. The second thing is to see if there was any problems with doing this, but as we move towards finalization of a strategic plan for the community and the organization, I've tried reaching out to Mr. Henry a couple times at Florida Institute of Government to bounce some things off of him, but it also dawns upon me that we do have someone here in our midst that has a lot of experience in putting strategic plans together. Councilmember Dumont is also Dr. Dumont from the University of North Florida. So if council does not have a problem with it, what I'd like to do is work behind the scenes with her on some concepts of how to move forward with completion of the strategic plan. She would not necessarily be facilitating or have time in front of council to present items, but work with me with the data that's been collected to try and come up with the best formats and the best approach for closing this document out. So I was asking to see if any of the council has a problem with moving in that direction. Thumbs up, people are good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dumont, for your willingness to, I'm assuming you're willing to serve in that capacity to help us through. I think we've done a tremendous amount of the heavy lift on this, so hopefully we'll be able to bring it into something that's a functional document for the city. Mr. Stokes?
Yes, thank you. We were at the Florida League of Cities. I was on the Land Use and Economic Development Committee. We had a couple topics that came up. One that we kind of touched on during the briefing was the economic development funding. It's got a lot of different aspects to it, but one thing that we want to do in this committee is put together a proposal that goes to the state and try to get it onto the legislative docket to create a fund for economic development for municipalities. It's something that Texas has, and that's why they're number 1 in business growth. Part of the reason why they're number 1 out there. So something that we don't have that we want to try and put on there. Second topic is annexation, which we talked about doesn't have a huge impact on Jacksonville Beach, but we support the other cities that it does have a big impact on. Lastly, we talked about the Home-Based Business Act that's been talked about up here on the dais before. The governor did sign it, so if you do have concerns about a home-based business in your neighborhood, I urge you to write to your representative, the Honorable Cord Bird or the Honorable Aaron Bean, and let them know about a home-based business in your neighborhood and let them know that you're opposed to this. Have a feeling that it will be a contentious issue over the next couple of years as more individuals see businesses that they may not appreciate in their neighborhood as opposed to businesses that they can deal with in their neighborhoods and that make noise as opposed to a lawyer who's just doing research in his living room. So that's it. Thank you.
We have a lot of announcements. It's been a while since we met up here, but Ms. Golding's announcement reminded me that I wanted to also say that Commanders Crumley and Shaughnessy spoke to the Chamber of Commerce to their monthly luncheon. Chief Smith was unavailable and they did a great job in his stead. And it was a really great back and forth with representatives from all 3 beaches. And one thing that really kind of hit home with that group was how great our Citizen Police Academy program is. So we were able to really promote that within the group. And a day or two later, they announced the next session, which I believe starts on August 11th. Is it 11th? 12th, okay. So anybody who's listening, please go on and sign up. I think all of us up here have participated in the program and know how valuable, you lived the program, you're good. So it's a really great thing that we do and a really tremendous opportunity for citizen engagement. So I'd encourage anybody that's interested to look into that and to participate. Next up, no other announcements. We have courtesy of the floor. I'd like to invite Celeste Kinsey Dial to the podium, and you'll have, if you can state your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes to address the council. And I'll see if I remember how to use the clock.
Okay, good. I hope you don't remember.
I do.
When I don't get done, I have somebody else, but I'm trying to get it done because she doesn't like that. Okay, I'm Celeste Kinsey Dial. I live at 1676 Roberts Drive. That's what's in question here. I'm trying to write these bullet points so I can get through it as quick as I can because there's a lot. So there's 11 houses on Roberts Drive. It is in between Seabreeze Elementary and Beaches Hospital. Not to mention the Avante nursing home, the Avante rehab, MRIs, doctor's offices, JOI. We are in the heart of it, in the thick of it. It's the main artery. Emergency vehicles use Roberts Drive to get to the emergency quicker, a lot of times. During twice a day, 10 months out of the year, they would literally have to go drive around. Fairway sometimes, Williams sometimes, but Williams is the same way. So I'm not just talking about Roberts. I can only speak for the people on Roberts Drive, and I spoke to 9 out of the 11 homes of the homeowners. It's Williams Street, America Avenue, Seabreeze Avenue, 16th Avenue South. There's another one I'm forgetting, but so the number one concern with all of us is the speeding. It's Roberts Raceway as far as we're all concerned. None of us can enjoy talking to one another in our front yards because, well, Morrissey will knows them. The Jax Beach Police Department knows me. I mean, Seabreeze knows my voice. I don't even have to say who I am. I call and complain all the time. I'm a crazy lady on the corner and Jimmy Crack Water and I don't care. And I know that sounds bad, but I'm calling because it's a blatant disregard for the residents in the area. I have brought this to the school, half a dozen messages just this year in the last 3 months. I would like to get it taken care of before. I do have some solutions, but the second one is this running of the stop signs. The third is the hitting our cars on the road, on the road, because we have to park on the road. Most of us, and I have all this written down, and I can leave it with you if you want. I have their names, their address, how many people, and how many cars they have. It's a small area. I mean, I have one son. I mean, I'm the few that has one. Everybody else has 2 and 3. They are all drivers, new drivers. Some of them, you can't even get it in our driveways or leave our driveways. They will look at us, and I'm going to let her finish it, but they'll give us the finger like, hold on, turn their car off, get out of the car, lock the car, walk across the street, wait on their kids, walk back across the street, get in their car, load up. And we're supposed to wait for them to get in our driveway, to get home, or to go pick up our kid that's at a different school, but we can't do that. Or to go to the hospital, or to go to work, or whatever. Okay, so then
they start to wrap it up? Or
Yep, they've hit the cars, they've hit the house. It was the Jax Beach policeman, it's twice. And so we're not getting our mail. We get the slips in our mailbox that says it's been blocked because of that. It's not a walking route, it's a driving route. They get hit. Trash cans are getting knocked over. We call it police non-emergency, but it's going to escalate to 911. Emergency vehicles cannot get through. It's gridlocked. Anybody that knows that area knows you just don't go that road twice a day. And a 95-year-old lady across the street once a month.
Okay.
I think that's it. No, it's not. You're going to have to talk, Kelly. Because you have to tell them about the tow truck in school. Okay, thank y'all, I appreciate it. Oh, tell them how, the take down, oh my gosh, all 3 minutes isn't enough. But take down the signs and the tow truck.
That's actually a really good strategy. Have someone else right behind you.
Right?
Well, we're actually neighbors.
If you can just start with your name and address, I'll
Sorry,
sorry.
my name is Kelly Bernardi. I'm at 1688 Roberts Drive. My house is actually right directly on the corner. And just to piggyback what she said, like we basically have, during the school times, people blocking our mailboxes. I've actually had one of my dogs hit and killed. The person drove away. We have tried to correspond with the principal on this issue. We have gotten no phone calls back. They put up no parking signs, stowaway signs in their school parking lot. But we would like something to where maybe the parents are using the carpool line instead of blocking up. Like I know she's had to go over her curb to get out of her home. And then, but we have I noticed some of the other schools have like pedestrian crossing, children at play, something, because people do, they just run the stop signs. Like I said, animals have been hit. We've had the tow trucks come up, obviously where we were parked, that we're gonna get towed. What else?
Solutions, take down the signs on the America Williams Seabreeze and let them park on the, do you mind if I kind of finish it with her or talk together with her?
That's fine.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
A minute and a half.
Yes, we're going to have the solutions that we have. But yeah, it would have to be with the school and we have no pull, no clout, no anything. It's y'all, that's why we're here. So America Avenue on the east side of the school, I'm sorry, on the west side of the school, on Williams, on the east side of the school, on Seabreeze, on the north side of the school, they have signs and there's no houses. It says no parking. They did that, they do it, throughout the last 18 years of Mass. And so if they took those down and let the parents park along the school, it wouldn't overflow onto 5 major arteries to the hospital,
If they could utilize some of that, it would free up the congestion around the hospital, the nursing home, the residents.
Now, I have to give them props. That carpool line runs like the Chick-fil-A. It's fast, it's good, it's great. But it's trying to come out, it's gridlocked because they're parked on both sides of the street on Roberts. They're parked on Seabreeze. The principal called the tow truck and had the police there to tow her vehicle, and she lives across the street. They went to Avante, told them they could no longer park there. And then they threatened that the city was going to tow it and take everybody. If they took those down, the children would not have to, they would never have to step off the school property. It would be school property to their vehicle. Problem solved, move on. That's all I got, I think.
Thank you.
I'll come back up in August because I know you'll.
Thank you both, and I can feel our city manager taking copious notes, so I'm sure this is something that we will be looking into.
Okay, and did you want us to leave you the list of the property owners and address? I don't have their phone numbers, but I do
You
have some.
can leave with the city clerk whatever documentation you would like to.
Okay.
Thank you. That is it for courtesy of the floor to visitors. So we will move on to item 129, which is regarding board appointments. So let's have an update from staff and then a discussion from the council before we make a motion on this one. Go ahead, Mr. Steffanis.
Mayor and council, this item is similar to a board appointment that you handled a month or 2 months ago. We do have a vacancy of a regular seat on the Board of Adjustment, the term that expires in December of 2023. We do also have alternates in the first and second position. So a couple of options that are available to you tonight. One of them would be to move the first alternate to the primary seat, the second alternate to the first, and leave the second alternate position open until you fill positions towards the end of the year. or you could go ahead and nominate and appoint a new regular member of the board to fill the position. So the options are really yours. We've provided you with 2 sample motions that you could use, one of the domino effect and one of filling the position outright.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Stokes. Well, I was just going to say, I am comfortable with going ahead and leaving the second alternate vacant and taking the first course of action. I'm delighted to see the long list of applicants that we have that are ready for an interview, and I think we've all agreed that we're going to kind of do that on an annual basis, so we still have time to recruit more before that process starts. While the Board of Adjustment is not necessarily the most coveted board, I think we do have an opportunity to seek some qualified candidates from that group, so that's where I fall on that. Mr. Stokes?
Yeah, my question for Mr. Spopoulos is, we have 2 alternates right now. Could we keep the seat open until we've had a chance to interview all the applicants? We have a lot of applicants who are really interested in the Board of Adjustment, and we have a lot of really qualified people that we just haven't been able to interview. None of these terms, end. I guess if Mr. Elmolay, his term would expire on a first alternate position in December, but Mr. Curley's would go to 2023, and then the next one, after we do interview for the second alternate, would last for a while. So we have 2 alternates right now. I'm wondering, could they fill that vacant seat until we've had a chance to catch up on interviews and look at a full list of qualified applicants in full?
If I understand your question, you're basically asking if the first alternate could basically fill in that spot until such time as appointments are made at the end of the calendar year.
Yes.
I'm looking down to the clerk, I don't think that that's a problem.
It is not a problem when they need the voting member, the first alternate or second alternate can vote if needed.
All right. So, well, we can do discussion. We'll have discussion before any motions filed.
Ms. Golding?
In follow-up to Mr. Stokes' comment, I would just put forth before my fellow council members that Mr. Curley has been serving on the Board of Adjustment, and Mr. Amala has also been serving. There's a lot to be said for having spent time in those seats and having learned of the process and what you can and can't do. I think Mr. Jansen would side with me on that. So I feel it's important to go ahead and put someone in that seat, because I would not feel comfortable putting a new person into the seat. I think a new person needs to go in one of the alternate positions to give them an opportunity to learn the rules, so to speak. And so I would be supporting appointment of Mr. Curley to the seat and then moving Mr. Amala up to first alternate.
Thank you, Ms. Golding. Ms. Dumont?
What Ms. Golding said. That was my experience on the planning commission.
Mr. Jansen?
Sure, I'm just going to back up what Ms. Goulding said as well. As having the experience of working on the Board of Adjustments, I'm in favor for this domino effect as well. There is a lot to learn, even though if you have some experience, there's more to the land development code that meets the eye. So I would encourage, and that's the way we had done it in the past. Not that that's always the right answer, but it played well in the past that we progressed along and moved up in chairs, and that experience paid forward. So I'm for the domino effect.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make, any other discussion? I don't see any lights. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I move that we appoint Owen Curley to fill the remainder of the vacant regular member Board of Adjustment term expiring on December 31st, 2023, and appoint Daniel Amala to fill the remainder of the first alternate Board of Adjustment term expiring December 31st, 2021, and defer appointment of the second alternate to the Board of Adjustment until the council interviews other board applicants.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion of the motion on the floor? I would just say this is a good opportunity to remind people, contacts that you know in the community, to go ahead and apply for these boards so that we do have a robust list when it comes time. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item 130, do we have a staff report?
We do. This is the monthly financial reports that are required by city charter to the council from our CFO. We do have our CFO here in the audience tonight if you have any questions on the information provided therein.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
I move that we accept the financial reports for the month of June 2021.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item 131, do we have a presentation from staff?
We do. This next item is with regards to prioritization of projects within the 5-year CIP, specifically for Beaches Energy Services. One of the things that we've noticed as Beaches Energy went through the process of developing a strategic operational plan is that some of their prioritization of projects needed to be changed around. So one of the things that Beaches Energy is asking for as they move forward with different projects is to get authorization from council to flip some of the items that are currently within the 5-year CIP. Most notably, they're looking at bringing work for the Butler substation forward to actually do now and push some other work a little further out to the CIP. This comes back to placing a high priority on our substations and getting those up to snuff where they need to be. We do have both Lamar Whitaker and Matt Campbell here in the audience if you have any questions for them about changing this prioritization.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
I move that we approve the proposed project reprioritization.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from council? Mr. Stokes?
I'm not an engineer. I know these guys over here are a lot smarter and experts in their field. Could you just give us a brief run through? I've got a lot that I don't understand in here, and I just would like to hear from the experts. I support it, but would just like to hear the rundown.
Can just give us your name, position, and department. Go ahead and
I'm
answer.
Matt Campbell, Relay Substation Supervisor from the city for 26 years. The main rundown is we're just basically flopping the current CIP from working on Diego in 2022 or 2023, moving it up and swapping that around, moving Butler up to 2021 right now, and pushing Diego, it seems, back a couple of years. That's all we're doing. If you want the numbers, I can give you the numbers. But it's spelled out here on that, on the council to item.
Yeah, that's it. I could see the numbers. I just was wanting like more, I don't know, more technical about the transformers and all that kind of stuff that's in here.
Okay.
It's not necessary, but it's just.
No, that's fine. I mean, we're moving.
It's more info than I can understand as a non-engineer, non-energy professional.
All right, well, we have the motor switch replacement, it's, right now we currently have motor switches, and we're moving to a circuit switcher, which is a more reliable piece of equipment, so we're doing some upgrades. The current motor switches we have are 25 to 35 year age limit, and so we're going to upgrade to circuit switchers there. We're trying to do that at all the stations, but right now we're going to prioritize Butler as being one of the worst because we're doing a lot of maintenance on the current motor switches. The transformer differentials relays, those are relays that protect the actual transformer. The transformer is the main equipment in the substation, the most expensive. So we're trying to upgrade those. The current relays we have are 50-year-old technology, so we're upgrading the microprocessors, and that involves quite a bit of engineering to do that. And then the circuit breakers, and we've found that we're trying to, moving towards a strategic plan, trying to focus on one substation at a time rather than doing this substation, that substation, that substation. We're focused on get everything we can done in this one year at this one spot. So that's why we're moving the breakers also. Since the transformer diffs and the motor switch, we want to move to Butler, and the breakers, we want to change out of Butler also. So this is our transition to getting to that strategic plan the city manager wants.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Strategic plan we all want. Any other comments or questions from council? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols.
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item 132. Staff.
Yes, and as a reminder, that strategic plan that Mr. Campbell just referenced is specific to Beaches Energy. They've worked on their own over the past year and a half now. So they're creating alignment within their own department based on the size of their function as Beaches Energy. This next item is a continuation of what Mr. Campbell was talking about. It's the authorization of a bid to actually purchase vacuum circuit breakers for installation. And you can see from the bid documents that are provided, there's a specific price that we're looking to do and go with a particular provider as well. Again, Mr. Campbell and Mr. Whitaker are here if you have any questions on this particular item.
Can we get a motion?
I move that we approve bid number 2021-05 for the purchase of the listed equipment from Superior Power Products.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? My comment stands. We all want our energy company to have a strategic plan. Anybody else?
So are these the same breakers as we just discussed?
No.
No? Okay, just for the purpose of the citizens and my understanding of more Beaches Energy stuff, I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, these, the breakers and the strategic plan that we want to move around are the high, what we call, we have a high side and low side of the substation. We have the high side, the transmission comes in, and then the transformer steps it down to our distribution that goes into the suburbs and everything. So these breakers, these current breakers for this bid are for the low side, the feeders that actually go out into the neighborhoods and businesses. Is that good?
Yeah, I did, sorry, I'm just taking notes, I want to learn more.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item 133.
This next item is to award a bid for water, sewer, and stormwater improvements specific to lift station number 7 and 20. And we do have our Public Works Director, who I believe might come up and say a few words with regard to this project.
Dennis Marion, Public Works Department. This is an extremely large project. Unlike a lot of our lift stations where we just go and do an individual lift station rehab, this project has been called out separately for a lot of years, relating lift station 7, lift station 20, and lift station 8. They've been separated because of the size of these projects. It's a lot more than just replacing an individual lift station and actually eliminating another one. There's a significant amount of water main that has to be relocated, force main, and quite a bit of other in-depth pavement work and everything else. So this project has morphed from something that started from a 2017 CIP project to actually finally coming to getting bid and getting under construction. So this is one of those that I inherited, and we've been pushing hard to get this moved out the door.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Motion?
I move that we award bid number 2021-03, lift station number 7 and 20, water, sewer, and stormwater improvements to DB Civil Construction LLC and authorized construction administration and resident observation services with the project design firm Jones Edmonds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions from council? Ms. Golding?
Thank you, Mayor. I have several questions, Dennis. There's mention of the directionally drilled water main to address the sorry, I'm reading my notes and getting ahead of myself. You mentioned a directionally drilled water main, right, under A1A.
Correct.
And I run across that part of A1A whenever I run.
Right.
And there's been a lot of work done there. There was an issue there in the middle of A1A, and is this going to address that?
It actually does. This is actually a completion of that temporary repair that we did, temporary semi-permanent repair. From what I got from our projects is that was slated to actually have been replaced. We had an opportunity last year to have a blow up in the middle of A1A, and when we dug down and found out, it was a cast iron pipe. It was supposed to have already been replaced according to all of our maps and drawings. So this is another one of those pieces that we added on because we have contractors, we're already working in the area. So this is actually going to eliminate that crossover from one side of A1A to the other side and replace it with new pipe. So this actually fulfills something that we thought was already done prior to the blow up we had last year in A1A.
Okay, great. Also, I noticed that there's mention from our consultant, Jones Edmonds, that the company that we're going with, they're a moderate high risk for late payments, and they recommend that we request partial lien releases with each pay application. Like Mr. Stokes, can you help me understand what that means?
I think a lot of times what they do is we will get requests from vendors to assure that they get paid prior to releasing the final funds. I'm guessing what you're referring to has to do with a late payment for merchandise or for products that they're buying and purchasing. So they'll do that significantly to us. They let us know that they're actually a lien holder. So before we issue out the final payment for everything, saying everything's done, we check back with those lien holders check back with the vendor providers to assure that all the bills have been paid and everything's taken care of before we release the final funding to the engineer to ultimately release it to the contractor.
Okay, great. I also like the fact that there's a resident observation consultant or sub-consultant, because I know in the past with some of our public works projects, we've had issues that, so my question for you is, I read through this and it looks like this person is going to be able to address issues, but do we know how the residents are going to know who to contact when they have an issue?
I'm going to make an assumption of myself because I'm not for sure. This is our first go around at having a resident observer, basically, to be involved in. This is our first shot at this for public works. So just like we do in other projects, like we've done with the downtown projects, we assure that person becomes that liaison in the community to be able to make sure that the people on the routes are notified, who to contact, how to get a hold of them, as well as that person works directly with Public Works for any issues, problems, or anything else. So we'll still maintain an active role. We just won't be filling that position of actually having somebody from the city there all the time while the whole time we're working, like we have with some of the downtown redevelopment projects.
I guess for me, I just want to make sure that it's communicated really well so that residents know where to get the information or who to contact if they have issues. Okay.
That's something we are enhancing as we're doing some of these other projects, and you'll see some more when we get to the downtown redevelopment continuations. Is those bigger projects are taking a more proactive approach to actually having websites to be able to direct people to see what work's being done in their yard or near their yard and what the timing is and how things are going to go. So when it gets to be the larger projects, I know we're trying to do that. Of course, this project is an inherited one that's been going for quite a few years, so that's where we're at now. But I assure you we'll be making contact with anybody that's affected by it.
Thank you, this is great, I really appreciate it. And last question, it said that the project completion is 12 months from the I guess, notice to proceed. Will there be any penalties if the project is delayed in getting completed in that time frame?
We don't have any penalties assigned to this project. Like I said, again, this was one of those that's been carried forward. I know we talked about that with penalties as well as incentives for early completions. This project doesn't really fall under that because of it being so far behind already. We're still running into some delays on equipment purchases, and the vendors seem to blame everything on COVID still. So whether it's raw materials, whether it's pumps, whether it's pipe. I got a notice today that SDR 26 is up to 14 weeks out for being able to get sewer pipe. So obviously a lead time like that can delay a project beyond what we know about. So at this point we don't have any. Long answer is we don't have any assigned to this project, but I know we're going to be exploring those options, especially before we get to the next big redevelopment projects.
Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, item 134.
This next item is also a Public Works project. They're looking to do an award of bid number 2021-08 to Mayer Homes for the construction of drainage improvements on the southeast corner of Isabella. And again, Mr. Barron is here to say a couple of words on regard to the project.
Hi, Dennis Barron, Director of Public Works again. This project will be to the east side of the eastern right-of-way of Isabella. So we actually have some drainage property in there where we're actually going to be filling in a very large ditch with pipe and then recovering it with swales and putting in new vegetation to be able to basically pipe in this big, large additional pond area that we've got down there. This project is actually a 2022 CIP project. I'm asking to pull forward. We are ready to move ahead and go ahead since this is a standalone project. It's kind of easy. It's out of the a lot of influence of what we're going to have going on and not a really large project. It makes sense for us to go ahead and get the work done a little bit earlier prior to waiting for the October budget to come out and begin to get that process now. So we're actually asking to pull this funds forward to now.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
I move that we award bid number 2021-08 to Mayer Homes LLC, doing business as Mayer Construction, and authorized construction administration services with the project design firm Hanson Professional Services, Inc.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions from council? Seeing, Mr. Stokes.
Sorry, yeah, since this is near myself and Councilor Dumont, what is the time frame on this project? I know that I've spoken with several of these homeowners and they will be very appreciative, but seeing as it is behind homes and in front of homes, it's going to cause, and it's a one way, there's not a, the residents can only go one way out of that little, cul-de-sac. What's kind of the time frame, and then also, thank you, Councilor Golding, for bringing up if there's going to be any delay penalties or early completion incentives on this project.
There are no delay or incentives on this project. This project was actually a project we debated on doing in-house as opposed to sending out to a contractor. It's a relatively easy project. We're going to literally have the contractor be cleaning out the ditch bottom, being able to put pipe in, and then filling it all back in. But it's got to be done some specific specifications due to the amount of fill we're allowed to add to the area and what we have to have. So it's a little beyond what we can make sure that we measure and attain to meet the DEP permitting requirements. So this project should be very short. It should be a couple months in and out as soon as they have the materials to be able to get rolling, which they can't do until we get the notice to proceed to them. So it should be a very, very short project. There's going to be some parking concerns because there's a lot of the public that likes to park across the street from all this because it's just green space. So during that time period, there will still be some parking allowed. A lot of the people there just have to deal with the construction end of it, which will really be on the east side of the right-of-way. So while they might be in and out with the right-of-way, they'll be communicating to those people to let them know that we've got to find some alternate parking for them to be able to get in and out.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Stokes?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes?
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item 135.
Item 135 is looking to award the engineering design proposal for Lift Station 28. As you can see from the background information, this was originally supposed to be Lift Stations 33 and 28. But Public Works made a determination that Lift Station 28 should be tackled first and foremost. So they do have a proposal to move forward on this project, which is shown in the financials at coming in just under $50,000. And again, we have Public Works Director Byron, if you have any questions for him about the work to be performed.
Can we get a motion?
Sure.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the proposal for Four Waters Engineering for the engineering design for Lift Station 28 in the amount of $49,452.00.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions from council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes?
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Barron. Hopefully you have a lot of good stuff coming pretty soon. The next item is a resolution, but there is, I think, going to be a regular motion prior to doing the resolution. Do you want to do a staff presentation?
Just a very brief overview. Council may remember a month or two ago, a presentation from our CFO, Ashley Gossett, regarding the need to put together an audit selection committee. The state statutes have changed such that staff no longer leads such a committee to select an auditor, but there were a couple different options of how to put together a committee. The council selected a 3-person committee that consisted of 2 elected officials and 1 member of the public. So over the last few weeks, CFO Gossett has received names for consideration and provided them in the information for you here tonight for consideration. You do have a total of 4 names, I believe. So you've got 4 names within which to choose from, and you also have a resolution for approval which would establish the auditor selection committee and appoint the members at the same time. So the first motion would be to appoint the member, and then the second would be to adopt the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Staffopoulos, and thank you, Mr. Jansen and Mr. Stokes, who volunteered to serve as our council representatives. Before we do a motion, can we get some discussion and maybe consensus on who we would like to nominate for the third position on the committee? We have 4 applications and 3 are certified public accountants, so we've got a good list. I didn't see who came on first, so I'll go with Ms. Dumont.
I would say Trish Roberts, because of her experience specifically with the city in public finance, and the current staff of the finance department knows her, and they get along, they work well together, so I would strongly suggest her.
Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor. I was reading the resolution and it said that the qualified persons with experience in municipal government and utility financial reporting and auditing. So given that, I would say, I would concur with Ms. Dumont. It seems that Trish Roberts has the municipal government and utility auditing or accounting experience, so I would support that as well.
Mr. Nichols.
I'd agree that Trish is definitely qualified, and for this particular assignment, really outweighs the other candidates in my eyes.
I agree, and I am thrilled that she's willing to come back and do some work for us if she is approved. And I think that Mr. Jansen and Mr. Stokes will really enjoy getting to know Trish. She was a really valuable member of our team for a long time. Ms. Golden?
Just real quick, I did want to say thank you to the people who did put their name in the hat. One of them was a resident in my district who found out about it when I sent my newsletter out and put his hand up and said that he would be willing to do it. So it's wonderful to see that we had 4 people interested. So thank you to everyone who was interested. Thank you.
Ditto on that. Mr. Stokes?
As someone who's on the committee, I would just like to say thank you to those that have volunteered to possibly serve on this committee, to put this out there and then get 3 CPAs interested, I think was very impressive. And then I was shocked when I read my packet that we actually got somebody to volunteer with municipal government and utility accounting and auditing experience. So I'm thankful as somebody who has no experience in that and volunteered to serve on this board. I'm very thankful to have somebody with the knowledge to help myself out and hopefully learn a little bit more about municipal government and utility accounting and auditing.
Wonderful. I don't see any other lights, so we'll go ahead and have the motion to nominate Trish Roberts as that 3rd member.
I move that we adopt resolution number, no, she's got to read it, right?
Do the first one.
I'd like to nominate Trish Roberts, a qualified person, as a 3rd member of the Audit Selection Committee.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Golding,
Yes?
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Madam Clerk, will you read the resolution by title?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, establishing an auditor selection committee pursuant to Section 218.391 Florida statutes for the purpose of assisting the mayor and city council in selecting an auditor to conduct the annual financial audit required in Section 218.39 Florida statutes, further appointing membership and setting forth obligations of audit committee, effective date, and all other purposes.
Need a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2087-2021, establishing an auditor selection committee and appointing its members.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Stokes,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes?
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. There is no other business on the agenda, so with that, the meeting is adjourned.